bills gets passed.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Wow.
he is our fearless leader here at Sirius XM. If it wasn't for him, it would be no Sirius XM, if you ask me. This is the world record holder, breaking the marathon broadcast record. He talked for 52 hours on the Sirius XM talk show. This man is the Freedom of Speech Award Talkers Magazine recipient. This man is a pillar in the community, 10 toes down. I always say when I mention his name, he's the reason why I got inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame, because he's the one that nominated me, and I gave him nothing but powerful respect when I went out there to speak and receive that award. He's known as the Black Eagle, or you could call him Madison. I'll call him our leader. Welcome him back to the show. The one and only Joe Madison is here, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey!
Joe Madison.
The king.
Hey.
Joe, how you feeling? Like, I know physically this has to be a toll on you. You've been on this hunger strike since November the 8th.
Well, first of all, man, I love you dearly, and your whole crew. I mean, you got the hottest show on town. You just amaze me. To answer your question, there are good days and there are bad days. Now, yesterday, I got to be honest, a little dizzy and headaches, and I just had to lie down, and I ended up plopping down like about 2 in the afternoon. Didn't wake up till 7, but that's expected. And then you have days like this when you get to talk to people like you, and most people have been encouraging, and then there's some good news, and that is that there is movement.
Okay.
And here's why I'm so glad that I got a chance to talk with you, and that is we're being told that one thing: the GOP, the Republicans, have made it clear. All 50 of them in the United States Senate have made it clear that they are now the party of voter suppression. Mm-hmm. No, none of them are going to vote for the John Lewis bill or for the People's Act. However, the Democrats, there were approximately 13 of them, not just Manchin and from West Virginia and Sinema from Arizona, who were holding out, but there were 13 of them who didn't want to change the filibuster rule, or to carve it out and put it aside so that they could pass these two bills. Mm-hmm. Well, they did just that last week for the debt ceiling bill. In other words, to keep the bills paid until 2023. So, real quick, the argument is now out the window. If you can carve out the filibuster bill, in other words, put it aside for the debt ceiling, paying the bills of the country, then Lord knows you can put it aside for voting rights, because that is fundamental. And Senator Warnock from Georgia went on the floor of the Senate yesterday and made that point. Then I've heard from the senators who have said, because I asked them, what do you want our audience to do? And they said, hold their feet to the fire. Please tweet, call, march, demonstrate, whatever app you use. I've made the point that this is I'm old school, so I'm calling and marching and all that. But I said to myself, if somebody put a video out on social media of a cat scratching its ass, he'd get 1 million hits.
You would. Yeah.
And so I don't understand it. but man, let me tell you, if 1,000,000 people who know how to use social media, especially young people, man, they're saying right now, they're talking right now, they believe that they can get all 50 Democratic senators to do what they did for the country's budget. And let's get these bills passed. Let me give you an example of what I found out. That in New Hampshire and Maine, that you actually have to register your car if you are a student and want to vote in New Hampshire or Maine in order to register to vote. In some of these states, they're passing laws that they're going to get rid of absentee balloting. In Michigan, Sway, they actually tried to pass a law that if grandma is in a nursing home, in order for her to get an absentee ballot, you can't take it to grandma. She has to leave that nursing home and go to the city clerk's office in order to get an absentee ballot.
Yeah,
this is what's going on.
And this is the kind of the freedom. This is Joe Madison, by the way, our fearless leader who's been on strike, a hunger strike, since November the 8th, until Congress passes or President Biden signs the Freedom to Vote Act or the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. And this bill will protect our elections from voter suppression, partisan sabotage, as we're seeing, gerrymandering, and dark money. And you've been doing this. You've actually lost. What have you lost? Like 20 pounds? Like
it's now down to 25. And I always hesitate to tell you that it's not about me. As I said, but answer your question. My wife insisted that if I was going to do this, and I told her I was. I didn't ask permission, but I just told her I was going to do it because it has to be done. Then she insisted I go to the doctor, and I got a baseline when I started to. So the day, Sway, is the 38 days. I was 194. I'm down now to 169.
Okay, so that's 25 pounds.
That's a weight. But there are easier ways to lose weight. Man.
Yeah, it's a couple. I could think of a few, but that's how important this is. You literally are putting your life on the line. And I saw you had a chance to speak with Eric Holder, who is the 82nd U.S. Attorney General. What were his thoughts like about this act? Actually,
well, Eric said keep doing it, and I got to tell you, Eric was like, man, you're doing. I understand why you're doing it. He never discouraged me. He is now on board. He's got a couple organizations that are trying to fight gerrymandering. And they're going state by state. But the two bills would address this whole problem of gerrymandering, where they're carving up districts, and they're doing it under partisan, so that they create a district where a Republican will automatically win, or by that matter, a Democrat will automatically win. I have had a conversation with Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who has been encouraging. We were able to flip Senator Mark Warner of Virginia, who at first was reluctant to change the filibuster rules. He now is on board. And we're hearing from many of those 13 senators. The target appears to be Sinema, from Arizona, and I don't know if you heard that there are now 20 plus young people in Arizona that decided that they're going on a hunger strike to put pressure on Senator Sinema, and they actually got on a plane and flew here earlier this week. And as we speak, they are protesting every day this week in front of the White House and encouraging President Biden to speak out and call on the Senate to do the right thing. So we're now saying that I know that the Build Back Better bill is important, just like the debt ceiling bill was important, but nothing is more important than this fundamental right to vote, and it can't wait until next year. Mm-hmm. It has to be done by the end of this year so that you can put it in place to stop these voter suppression laws that state capitals. There are 450 of these antiquated voter suppression manipulation laws that have been introduced in 49 states, and several of the states have already passed the laws and been signed by governors. Mm-hmm. So that's where we are. So I'm like I said, our discussion is so timely because this really is about future generations.
Yeah.
And that's what I said earlier. That two things. One, that history has told me I know what happened at the end of the first Reconstruction. The mm-hmm. first thing they did to end the first Reconstruction was to go after the vote, and they took the vote away. And those votes that they couldn't take away, they assassinated elected officials. They terrorized black black officials and communities that tried to hold on to the vote. Well, the same thing is now happening in what I refer to today, many of us, as the end of the second Reconstruction. Here we are, where we've elected a black man as president, a black woman as vice president. We've had governors, mayors, you name it, and now the attempt is to suppress our vote because we were the margin of victory that mm-hmm. gave Joe Biden the pen to sign all these important pieces of legislation, and I've said to Schumer and I've said to Biden straight up, if you don't do this, you're not going to win. You're going to lose Congress. You're mm-hmm. going to lose the Senate next year, and you're going to create a clear path for Donald Trump to run for president of the United States and maybe get elected.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm-hmm. We got Joe Madison here. Joe, I want to thank you, too. I think this conversation is timely. This is a conversation we have often on our show with Mike MUSE, who does our political news. I got Mike on the line right now. Mike, you there?
Mike.
Yo, what's happening?
Yeah, man. Two legends on the line, Joe Madison and Mike MUSE. Mike, just, real briefly, what did you think of some of the things Mr. Madison was saying?
Well, one, I just want to say, Joe Madison, is always a pleasure to be in conversation with you. You are an incredible legend, and what you have done to educate the people in America and society is incredible. I love what you're doing in terms of bringing awareness to this important, most critical point of our time, really an inflection point of our democracy, and for you to be so selfless with it in terms of literally giving up your body in order to make sure that other bodies can be protected in a metaphorical sense is an impressive. I've been a fan of yours. I love your daughter, Mo. We talk very often. And you are a legend. I was actually I was at a gathering recently, and someone really dear to me from Lansing, Michigan. She's a huge fan of yours, and she kept raving of how she had the opportunity to call into your show. And so you make her day every time you take her call, Mrs. White. So I just wanted to say thank you. We love you, and thank you for all that you're doing to educate and bring awareness at what's at stake for our democracy.
Well, and I have the utmost. I have the utmost respect for these for the young people who are stepping up, as you know, as someone said, you know, Sway and others and all of you are the and I mean this sincerely. You are the generation of great expectation. That's a great expectation, and you know, I'm going to tell you, I 25, 30, 50 years from now, I don't want my children and grandchildren and great grandchildren asking, well, what happened, and what did you do about it? Because I know what happened after the first Reconstruction. We caught hell in the Supreme Court. We had lynchings. We had black codes, Jim Crow, and now what these folks are trying to implement is what I call Jim Crow's sophisticated cousin, James Crow Esquire. I mean that's what they're doing in Maine and New Hampshire. Because really, it amounts to a poll tax. It just like poll it used tax. To be in the South. It amounts to the poll tax. So these young people that are protesting and marching and demonstrating. But then I'm old school because I'm thinking maybe we need to just hit the streets again. Well, I agree we do. But now. You in the comfort
social
of your
media.
home.
Yeah,
it's just social media.
Use the social,
and that's exactly right. Like I said, if Beyonce or Jay-Z or whoever, some athletes, if they can get 1 million hits and they don't have a vote in Congress, you better understand the impact that all of us have at our fingertips.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping will take place. A lot of people are skeptical, but I did tell Senator Schumer I'm not going to stop. And let me tell you, folks have sacrificed a lot more than food. But just as food is essential and a necessity for life, the vote is a necessity to maintain democracy.
Joe Madison, the Black Eagle. Thank you, Joe. Listen, thank you for all that you do. Give him a big round of applause for all that you do and continue to do. And let's keep having these conversations.
Yes.
Because Joe is still on strike, Mike Muse. He's still on this hunger strike, citizens. And I want you guys to listen to him like you listen to us. He's Monday through Friday, 6 to 10 a.m. on Sirius XM Urban View, Channel 126. Follow him on social media. Support him. And we'll continue the conversation as we have Joe Madison. And please send my love to your family, your wife, the kids.
I will.
And stay strong, man. Hey, stay strong.
And love you back. And contact your senators right now. Please contact them all right now. And love you back. Thank you, Sway.
Thank you, man. Joe Madison, the Black Eagle. There he goes, man. There it is. And then Mike Muse. Thank you, Joe. Mike Muse. Mike Muse. Thank you for when he brought up Michigan. I knew you sat up straight in your chair.
Of course, of course.
I know your ears perked up, but it's powerful what he's doing. It's really powerful what he's doing, and he's catching the attention of a lot of people. But it only matters with those senators, right, Mike? At the end of the day, that the people we voted into office, or someone else voted into office for us. Is why we always talk about voting and the privilege of voting. And we were going to go in a totally different direction, man. Is it possible to tap back into that Friday, Mike?
For sure. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. All right. So I want to thank Mike MUSE for coming on board, talking with Joe Madison.